Kia ora Aotearoa, welcome to Let's Be Frank, Alt TV's current affairs show. Sadly, Oliver Driver can't be with us as he's away filming Under the Mountain still, so I'll be standing in for him tonight. As little as last election, the suggestion of a National Party, Maori Party coalition government would have been seen as likely as ACT and the Greens getting married and moving to Sydney. But in the shadow of the Labour Party's confiscation via legislation of the seabed and foreshore, and with that nice smiling John Key replacing Don Brash and his Orewa speech, serious debate swirls around the possibility. Coalition partner or treaty partner? Can the Maori Party control National's privatisation agenda? Do the National Party really understand what they are in store for? Tonight, the co-leader of the Maori Party, Dr. Pita Sharples. Thank you for joining us.
Kia ora, tēnā koe.
What's the difference between a coalition partner and a treaty partner?
A treaty partner recognises that Maori are tangata whenua and not a race.
Yep.
Because so far, Parliament is treating us as a separate race. So they see funding for any initiative Maori the same as funding for a Chinese initiative or an Indian initiative or a Pacific Island initiative.
So they don't recognise the uniqueness of the position?
That's right. They don't recognise New Zealand's history, that whole 1,000 years of Maori and the land here growing together.
Yes. So how is it different from a coalition partner? Well,
it's different in the sense that like we march to save the whales, we march to save the kakapo, we march to save an old house that's only 200 years old. You know, we protest about these things. Yet here's the indigenous people of this place, you know, over 1,000 years old, and we're quite prepared to let that go down the tube. So there is a responsibility of every government to make sure that the indigenous language is intact, that the option there is there for young Maori, for my grandchildren, to grow up with the option of speaking Maori and having tangihanga and marae and all those kind of things. And this is the whole difference.
Why isn't te reo compulsory in school? Exactly.
It should be compulsory. I mean, so many things are compulsory and people take it for granted. Music, phys ed, all those things some people aren't too keen on, and yet there they are. So it should be as part of our New Zealand thing, you know. They say in America they learn a lot about a little, only American things, and here we learn a little about a lot, and really we should be looking a bit more New Zealandness in our curriculum.
Are National serious about being a treaty partner with the Maori Party when today's news headlines from John Key announced that he intends to settle all historical treaty settlements and scrap the Maori seats by 2014?
Well, there's the contradiction straight away. I mean, I don't know what the connection is between the scrapping of the finishing of the claims in 2014 and, in his words, beginning a democratic process to eliminate the seats.
Yeah.
Now, it's almost as if it's a problem area, you know, and we get rid of this one problem, the claims, and we deal with this other problem later on, and there's some connectedness between them. They're absolutely different kaupapa. One is compensating for wrongdoing of the government. The other one is taking away something from Maori, which they own, the seats.
Did John Key consult with you about his Maori affairs and treaty negotiations policy before releasing it today?
He has talked, he's told us that that is his policy, yes. We knew of that.
Do you feel you've been ambushed by today's policy launch?
Not at all, because, I mean, we're free.
Right.
We're totally free, and we have not, we're not going to make up our mind about any coalition or agreement. We've said always that we'll go back to the people, and we will.
Yeah. Matthew Hooton, a National Party Svengali, told me on Eye to Eye 2 weeks ago that the desire to dump the Maori seats was simply window dressing for the more raw meat-eating National fringe than genuine policy. Today's announcement, however, suggests otherwise, doesn't it? National want to dismantle the democratic mechanisms that give Māoridom political voice. Do you think you've been kneecapped by John Key?
No, I think Mr. Hooton is pretty close. I mean, that's the same message we've been getting privately.
Yep.
And that, in fact, it's well off. And, well, we've made it very clear that we will oppose the elimination of the seats unless Māori say so.
Right.
Those are Māori seats.
Right.
And they should say it is time for us to dismantle them. And so I don't know what this democratic process is that he has in mind, but at the end of the day, the people who own the seat should make that decision.
So if he is serious about working a coalition with you, that process, that democratic process, would it? I imagine it would be Māoridom themselves deciding whether or not the electorate seat should go.
Well, I put it this way. We've got so much deep structure stuff that is basic to us. We've got to carry on with the repeal of the foreshore and seabed. Nobody's supporting us at this moment except perhaps the Greens.
Yep.
So that's deep structure stuff. The treaty, placing the treaty somehow where we think it should be, right at the top of the pecking order of law.
Yeah.
How do you do that without making it a law in itself and they're subjugating it to the law process? You see. So there's that. Those are deep structure things that nobody is helping us with in terms of the main parties.
Right.
Now the seats is also a deep structure thing. We would fight that to death.
Right.
But the reality is that's not going to happen in the next 3 years. So we have to fight for the benefits for Maori and New Zealand today over the next 3 years. And I'm talking about education, I'm talking about health, I'm talking about family strength, I'm talking about community development, I'm talking about poverty, relative poverty. I'm talking about those things which are violence, which are right in front of us at this time.
Those are also issues that cross the race spectrum, though, aren't they?
Some of them are across the race spectrum, but I just think the violence thing is right throughout our culture. We've got road rage, we've got business now, biting in, and we've got untold examples of bridge corps and so on where people have got greedy and that sort of, again, that's the kind of intensity we don't need in our business. I think it cuts across our whole life. So I think New Zealand have got to sort of settle down and realise, look, here we are, Pacific Island, just 4 million people. We're pretty happy here. We're good at sport. We're good at this and that. We can contribute in every way. We don't have to be the world's best at everything. And we should turn now and look after each other a bit more. We've neglected people. We close the freezing works. And we make a lot of lip service, but at the end of the day, Moerewa is still struggling to recover from that works closing how many years ago? Now we've closed Hastings since then, 2 in Hastings, 1 in Dannevirke now, and others. So we've got to repair the damage that we do.
Do you think National's economic policies, which haven't benefited Māori in the past, when they've gone to the right very hard, those economic solutions have always hurt Māoridom quite heavily, just as Labour's did when they went under Roger Douglas. Do you think that its economic policy these days are less harmful to Māori?
I think that in their economic policies there are some real benefits for Māori, but then what it boils down to is how they apply those policies, and sometimes it's sort of in or out stuff, like user pays. Concepts like that which can kill off those who don't have. We've got a situation of have and have-nots, and a large portion of the Māori are in the have-nots. So any sort of hard decisions on things tend to affect that group. So I think it's going to be, there's some good stuff in their policies, but I think the execution of it could be disastrous if it's handled wrong.